It started with a sneeze. I was rummaging through the attic, looking for a box of old family photos, when I stumbled upon a dusty, leather-bound diary. Its cover was cracked with age, and the pages smelled of forgotten time. Curiosity piqued, I flipped through the entries, each one more mundane than the last. But the final entry stopped me cold. It described, in excruciating detail, my death, a death that was dated for tomorrow. It felt like a punch to the gut, and yet, a part of me, a small whisper at the back of my mind, urged me to read on. The diary belonged to someone named Evelyn, whose life seemed eerily parallel to mine. Her entries mentioned places I frequented and people I knew. The last page was the most unsettling, detailing a car accident on the highway I took every morning. It mentioned a freak storm, a flash of lightning, and a loss of control. My heart pounded as I realized tomorrow's forecast predicted severe thunderstorms. Was this a warning or some twisted prank? I was trapped in a web of disbelief and dawning horror, unable to dismiss the chilling coincidence. Desperate to change my fate, I decided not to go to work the next day. But as night fell, sleep eluded me, and paranoia crept in. The storm started early, lightning dancing across the sky. My phone buzzed with texts from friends about the worsening weather and urging me to stay safe. I felt a strange compulsion to drive, an inexplicable urge that I resisted, pacing my living room instead. But the sensation grew stronger, an invisible hand pushing me toward the door. Unable to resist any longer, I grabbed my keys and headed for the car, driven by a force I couldn't comprehend. The storm raged on as I sped down the highway, the diary's words echoing in my mind. Suddenly, a blinding flash illuminated the road, and I lost control. As the car spun, time seemed to slow, and I saw her, a ghostly figure in the passenger seat, her eyes reflecting the storm's fury. It was Evelyn, her lips curled in a knowing smile. The diary was not a warning, it was a promise. As the world went dark, I realized I had never been the author of my own story.
I never believed in ghosts until the night I started hearing whispers from the empty hospital room next to mine. It was a quiet evening, the kind where silence hangs heavily, and even the slightest noise seems amplified. As a night shift nurse, I've grown accustomed to the eerie stillness of the hospital's corridors, but this was different. The whispers were soft, almost like a lullaby, yet their presence was unsettling. I knew that room had been vacant for weeks, the door always closed, its lights off. My curiosity got the better of me, and tonight, I decided I would find out who, or what, was speaking. The first time I heard them, I dismissed it as fatigue playing tricks on my mind. But as the nights wore on, the whispers became more distinct, forming fragments of sentences that chilled my spine. They spoke of things I couldn't quite comprehend, tales of sorrow and longing. Other nurses mentioned the room had a history, a patient who had passed under tragic circumstances, left unresolved. They warned me not to dig too deep, but I couldn't resist. I felt drawn to the mystery, compelled to uncover the truth hidden within those walls. As I approached the room tonight, my heart pounded in my chest, the whispers growing louder, more coherent. I reached for the door handle, my hand trembling with a mix of fear and anticipation. As I turned the knob, the door creaked open to reveal a dimly lit room, the faint outline of a figure standing by the window. I blinked, trying to focus, but the figure seemed to dissolve into the shadows. A cold breeze swept through the room, carrying with it a whisper that sounded like a plea, a name I had never heard before, but one I felt I should know. In that moment, the temperature plummeted, and the whispers turned into a cacophony of anguished cries. Panicking, I stumbled backward, the door slamming shut behind me. The cries faded, replaced by a deafening silence that seemed to echo the warning I had ignored. I never spoke of that night again, the whispers now a haunting memory etched into my mind. The room remained empty, the door forever closed, but sometimes, when the night is still, I swear I can hear them calling my name, urging me to return. When I saw the ad for an app that claimed it would change my life, I laughed it off. But curiosity got the better of me, and I downloaded it just before bed. It started innocuously enough, asking questions about my interests and goals. But as I delved deeper, the questions turned oddly personal, touching on fears I hadn't shared with anyone, not even my closest friends. I shrugged it off, thinking it was just a clever algorithm trying to engage me. Little did I know, the app was about to blur the line between virtual and reality in the most terrifying way. The first sign of something amiss came the next morning. I awoke to a notification, "Face your fear today." Confused, I dismissed it and went about my routine. But as I stepped outside, my stomach dropped. The street was eerily empty, shrouded in an unsettling silence. My phone buzzed again, this time displaying an image of a dark alleyway, an alley I recognized from a recurring nightmare. I felt an inexplicable pull towards it, compelled by an unknown force. Against all rational thought, I walked towards the alley, each step echoing louder than the last, my heart pounding in rhythm. Inside the alley, the air grew thick, and shadows danced unnaturally on the walls. My phone chimed once more, the screen displaying a message that froze my blood. Your fear is here. A figure emerged from the darkness, its form shifting and flickering like a glitch in reality. It was the embodiment of my deepest fear, a terrifying amalgamation of every nightmare I'd ever had. Paralyzed, I watched as it advanced, my mind screaming for escape, yet my body betrayed me, rooted to the spot. In a desperate attempt, I hurled my phone at the apparition. The device shattered on impact, and as the pieces hit the ground, the figure flickered and dissipated into the shadows. Gasping, I staggered back, my heart racing. But the relief was short-lived. My phone, now a pile of broken glass and circuits, buzzed one last time. Among the shards, a single message glowed ominously: now you know, fear can manifest. More to come. Every evening, I sit on the edge of my bed with an old, worn photo album cradled in my lap. It was a comforting ritual at first, a way to reconnect with family memories since they all moved away. But lately, each time I flip through the pages, something feels off. Their faces, once frozen in time, seem to shift subtly, like ripples on the surface of a pond. Tonight, as I turn to the familiar photo of our last family vacation, a cold shiver runs down my spine. None of them have eyes. I convince myself it's just my imagination playing tricks, the dim lighting casting strange shadows. I snap a picture of the photo with my phone and head to the kitchen for a glass of water, hoping the distraction will clear my mind. But when I look at the picture on my phone, the eyeless faces are even clearer, more pronounced. Panic bubbles up inside me as I stare at the image, unable to look away. I try calling my sister, needing to hear her voice, to reassure myself she's okay. But the call goes straight to voicemail, a mechanical voice echoing in the silence. Determined to get some answers, I dig through old boxes searching for any clue about the album's eerie transformations. At the bottom of a dusty cardboard box, I find a note from my grandmother, the album's original owner. Her handwriting is shaky, the ink smudged in places. They watch us through the eyes of our memories. Beware their gaze. The words send a chill racing down my spine. I remember her stories about our ancestors, tales of watchers who could manipulate the past to control the present. I rush back to the album, flipping frantically through the pages, watching as the faces continue to change, becoming more grotesque, more alien. My heart pounds as I realize the truth. I'm not looking at my family anymore. These are the watchers, their true forms bleeding through the fabric of our memories. The room grows colder, the air thick with a presence I can't see. Then, the lights flicker, plunging the room into darkness. As my phone screen illuminates the album, I see my own face staring back, eyes hollow and empty, waiting to be consumed. I woke up one night to find my reflection in the bedroom mirror wasn't following me. Instead, it was gazing at me with eyes that seemed to hold secrets of a world I dared not imagine. Each night, I found myself drawn back to the mirror, compelled to watch as my reflection began to morph into something unrecognizable. It started with small changes, a flicker of a smile that wasn't mine, a slight tilt of the head as if listening to whispers I couldn't hear. As the days passed, the mirror became a window into a dark, unsettling reality. My reflection began to peel away its skin, revealing a creature beneath with eyes that glowed like embers. It seemed to be waiting, lurking for the right moment to fully emerge. I tried to ignore it, to convince myself it was a trick of the light, but the fear rooted itself in my mind, making my skin crawl each time I dared to glance at my own image. On the seventh night, unable to resist the pull any longer, I stood before the mirror, demanding answers. The creature took a step forward, its movements deliberate and eerily familiar, like a shadow finally stepping into the light. It opened its mouth, and a voice that echoed with 1,000 screams whispered, "I am what you are becoming." My heart raced as I realized this wasn't just a reflection or a nightmare, it was a prophecy of my own transformation. In a moment of desperate clarity, I smashed the mirror, shards flying like a storm around me. But even as the glass shattered, I saw the creature's eyes in each fragment, still watching, still waiting. The chilling realization hit me: no matter how many mirrors I broke, it would always find a way back, a part of me forever altered, forever entwined with the darkness it promised.
I never believed the stories about the cursed well behind my school, but the screams I heard last night were unmistakably real. It started as a dare, as these things often do. My friends and I were huddled around a flickering campfire, the air thick with the scent of burning wood and the thrill of the forbidden. Jack, ever the bravest or perhaps the most foolish among us, challenged me to spend the night near the well. "Prove it's just a story," he taunted. Determined to silence him, I accepted, armed with nothing but a flashlight and my skepticism. As the night deepened, the shadows stretched and twisted like living things. I sat by the well, its stones cold and damp beneath my fingers, whispering the old tales to myself as a kind of mockery. They spoke of children who vanished, of voices that beckoned from the depths. Yet, as the hours dragged on, my confidence waned. A chilling breeze swept through the trees, carrying with it a faint, mournful sound. At first, I dismissed it as the wind, but then it grew louder, more desperate, a cry for help echoing from the darkness below. I leaned closer, peering into the abyss, my heart pounding in my chest. The screams were unmistakable now, slicing through the silence of the night. They were not just echoes of the past, they were real and happening right beneath me. Panic surged as I stumbled back, my flashlight slipping from my grasp and tumbling into the well, swallowed by the void. The light extinguished, leaving me in utter darkness, the cries continuing unabated. Fear rooted me to the spot, each second stretching into eternity. Just as I was about to run, I felt a cold hand grip my ankle, pulling me towards the edge. I kicked and screamed, my voice joining the chorus from the depths. In my struggle, I caught a glimpse of something pale and gaunt emerging from the shadows, its eyes hollow and accusing. The legends were true, and I was about to become just another story whispered around the campfire, my fate sealed by the well's insatiable hunger.
It started innocently enough when I noticed a strange blur in the background of my latest TikTok video, an indistinct shadow that seemed to hover over my shoulder. I brushed it off as a trick of the light or perhaps a smudge on my lens. But the more I posted, the more the shadow seemed to gain definition, coalescing into the big outline of a figure. At first, it was amusing, a ghostly photobomb that added an eerie twist to my content. But as my followers grew, so did the figure's presence, hinting at a truth that chilled me. It wasn't just part of the video, it was stepping closer. As days turned into weeks, the comments section became a frenzy of speculation, my viewers as entranced by the figure as I was terrified. They pointed out details I hadn't noticed, the way its hand seemed to reach for me, the glint of what could be eyes reflecting the ambient light. I tried everything to rid my videos of this ominous presence, changing filming locations, resetting my phone, even enlisting a friend to record with me. But the figure was relentless. It was always there, looming larger with each upload, drawing me into a dance I didn't understand but couldn't escape. The turning point came when I decided to film outside, hoping the bright daylight and open space would banish my spectral stalker. Standing in the middle of a bustling park, I held my phone at arm's length, willing the shadow to stay away. But as I reviewed the footage, my heart stopped. There it was, clearer than ever, standing directly behind me, its features now unmistakably human. My followers noticed too, their comments shifting from intrigue to alarm. They urged me to stop, to delete my account, to get help. But it was too late, something had crossed over, and it wasn't just a digital anomaly anymore. Desperation took me back to the park one last time, determined to confront whatever had latched onto me. I went live, hoping for witnesses as much as for protection. The screen flickered, and suddenly, my phone was wrenched from my hand, the shadow now fully corporeal, grinning with a malevolence that froze my blood. The last thing my viewers saw was my phone clattering to the ground, the broadcast cutting to black amidst their frantic comments. Now, I sit here, alone yet not alone, the shadow no longer content with lurking in the background. It whispers from the darkness, and I know it's only a matter of time before it steps into the light. I never believed in family curses until the night my inherited music box started playing its airy tune at 3 a.m. It was a delicately crafted antique, with intricate engravings that whispered of its age. At first, I thought it was just a quaint relic from my grandmother, a relic that somehow kept perfect time. But when it started whispering my name, I knew there was something far more sinister at play. Every night, the lullaby grew louder, and the whispers more insistent, as if the music box was trying to tell me something I desperately needed to understand. I began researching its origins, delving into my family's history with a sense of dread that tightened with every passing day. I discovered that the music box once belonged to a distant ancestor known for dabbling in dark arts. It was said that she had trapped a part of herself inside it before her untimely demise, a part that could never rest. The stories spoke of how each owner of the box had met mysterious ends, with the music serving as both a warning and a curse. My nights were haunted by the music, and my days consumed by an obsession to unravel its secrets before it was too late. One night, unable to bear the whispers any longer, I decided to confront the music box. As the clock struck 3 a.m. and the lullaby began, I sat in front of it, demanding to know what it wanted. The melody shifted, discordant notes piercing the air as the whispering grew into a cacophony of voices. My name echoed around the room, each repetition more frantic than the last, until one voice rose above the rest, pleading for release. It was then I realized the box wasn't just haunted, it was a prison, and I was its next intended captive. In that moment of terrifying clarity, I understood what I had to do. With trembling hands, I smashed the music box to pieces, hoping to break the cycle. As the shards scattered across the floor, the music ceased, and a deathly silence fell over the room. But now, as I write this, I hear the familiar tune in the distance, slowly drawing near. Perhaps the curse can't be broken, only passed on. If you hear the lullaby, know this, the box is searching for its next owner, and it knows your name.